Hello everyone, Don here again with another update on the W.A.R. Corsair project. I was able to get a little bit done this week. I had to go back to work and do some stuff, so I did a little bit during the week time. And what I ended up doing is working on the fuselage. One of the things I did is I cut out these tracks for the canopy slides. And then had to put a little bit of foam in the back here, and I mixed up some epoxy and microbloom slurries and gave it one coating inside, top and bottom. So that's all done. And then I went over the whole tail section with sandpaper, resanded the fuselage, worked on that some more, got that all sanded down. And then I took, if you'd noticed before, up underneath here there was wax paper stuck to the underside of this thing. So I had to go in there and sand that all out. The epoxy apparently got warm enough to melt the wax and the paper didn't come off. And then there was some jagged material from fiberglass on here. I ground it all down, sanded the inside, ground this out a little bit, clean it up in here. I had to remove these because this foam under here was sticking out too far, that the track, there's a little plastic track that rides, I don't see it, but it rides on that thing, hooks under like a J. So I had to blend that all in, and then I gave that a coat of microblooms and sanded it down. It'll need another light skim coat, but I had to pull these tracks off and get under there and do all that. So it's just a piece of aluminum on both sides. And then I trimmed the wood off that was a little long, too much backlighting. Wood was a little long up here on the end, so I trimmed them off. You can see I got the seat floor just setting in there. But so that's what I done. I still have this edge to finish off in here. But like I said, I gave the fuselage a good sanding. And as you can see, I got the tail doors on. You can see the little turnbuckles up in there. That'll have to be adjusted once I do the retracts on the gear. Still have to get the spring clips to put in here to center this. Alright, and then all day today I pretty much spent working on this little gizmo back in here. You see I got the rudder end, and that took some fitting. I had to take almost 1/4 inch off of this. And I had to sand this more triangle shaped. To get the thing to travel, it has to travel 30 degrees. And as you can see, those connections stick out past the fuselage. And that's part of the reason why you have to make these little doors. But the doors also gives you access to the 2 bolts in here to bolt this up and also to hook the cables up. So, but I had to get 30 degrees of deflection out of this thing, which is pretty much what that angle of that piece here is. This is about 30 degrees right here, this front edge of this assembly. So as you can see, that's sticking out quite a bit there. So what I'm going to need to do is I'll have to router this out until I get a good clearance for that cable, and then I'll have to make kind of like what you'd have on a aileron, excuse me, a little push rod cover be glassed into here. It'd just be a little U-shaped hump piece, taper off, and then the door, I'll have to make some doors either out of fiberglass or aluminum sheet, and it'll have to have a hump in it too. It'll be kind of like a long teardrop so everything clears and doesn't touch. But I need plus 30 degrees of travel on this rudder each way. So, and then I got the tail all sanded out. I actually was able to mix up some more slurry mix yesterday and fill in a couple of low spots yet. There was a couple of low spots on the other side of this fin, but that's all sanded out. Essentially the fuselage, other than getting these pieces done, are ready for the epoxy wipe process. So I've got it pretty much finished up into about here. I can still feel a little waviness in here, so I'll be adding more once I start on this. Underneath the gas tank I was able to, I put down some rubber sealant all the way around. And I'm going to probably put it, I was thinking about putting it on that lip, but I'm actually going to put it on the bottom lip of the tank itself to seal that corner, this whole back edge. This whole back edge has got to be sealed, so if it rains, water won't get down into the fuselage. And then again, the front side's going to need another build-up bulkhead in there. But the turnbuckles will pull this thing down tight, and then I'll start doing the slurry here. So I was surprised, it was only around 70 degrees, and then a thunderstorm kicked in yesterday just as I was starting to do the microbloom slurries. And I was afraid it was going to get a little too damp and dry, but the stuff was actually setting up before I could finish it. And then you see here I took and filled that in, sanded it and blended it all in. So, and this is a small luggage compartment back inside. There'd be a little aluminum shelf in there, and then you see this side. So that's kind of where I'm at this week. The sanding was a chore to do, especially inside the fuselage. It's really tough to sand that. And when it comes to sanding the fuselage and the bigger items, I got to tell you, that is the best sander in the world. This here thing. It's meant to be used like this, hold up here, but I use it like this. It works best this way. Crisscross pattern, sanding, keeps contours, but that by far is money well spent. If you're doing anything like this, that's a must-have. It allows you to get into these corners really nice and clean. So I had some extra slurry and I just slapped it in there. It's pretty good. There's a couple of low spots yet. So that'll all get done. This has to be ground down before I start filling it. But I'm going to concentrate, hopefully this next week, on this. Work on this, get this buttoned down. Get that figured out, and then get that filled and get them little chutes made on there. And there's no reason why I can't do my epoxy wipe on the rest of this. Since the bottom of the airplane is painted, I'll take and run some masking tape along this edge and let it hang down. Because when you do the epoxy wipe, there's going to be epoxy running off, and I don't want it run down and under onto the paint. So a piece of painter's masking tape along this bottom edge and just leave it hanging will allow any resin to run and drip off, so all the way around. And kind of the same thing around here. This is going to be, this whole fin is going to be that color. So basically from here up, fin and rudder is that blue color, and then from here across down to there, across here and back under there to the tail will be that same light blue color. And then the dark blue will come down and blend in over top of all that. So, alright, so that's where I'm at. Doesn't look like I got a lot done, but let me tell you, that was some job back there. I spent literally all day on that. Had to get in there and cut out a lot of foam to get everything to clear. So I just whittle all that out, back up into here where this cable came through. So those are physically attached to the pedals. If I was to go up there and work the pedals, that rudder will work. And now I've got full deflection, and I've still got plenty of room left, so when I glass this over, it's not going to rub. There's some cleaning to do on the inside here on the foam that I have in there. So in the same way, but back here, I got to work on these edges. Again, this tail's getting cut off. Comes off, and then this will have to be hollowed out, all the foam out of it. But when this comes off, I'll have to get in here and get the elevator on. I'll have to clearance all this the exact same way as I did that. Now this one here, the elevator, I believe, is 20 degrees up, 10 degrees down is what the print says, and this is plus minus 30. The ailerons are plus or minus 17 degrees up and down. So plus 17, plus I think 17 plus 2, 1 or 2. So, all right, well, that's going to do it for this week's update. Again, appreciate everybody taking the time to watch my videos. As always, feel free to Leave any comments, questions, or concerns, and I'll answer them as they come along. So for this week, this will be Dino Don out.